What's good, y'all? Welcome to the afternoon shift here on Fox Local, Fox.com, YouTube, Tinder, Bumble, BlackPeopleMeet.com. We're streaming everywhere we can to bring you all the latest information and entertainment. My name is Maxx Fuller, a.k.a. Max Keel O'Neal, a.k.a. Max U McConaughey, a.k.a. a million other things. And normally, I am joined by the ever-amiable Adam Lorenz. He's off somewhere else in the world today. Grace Henry also out, so it's a two-man operation. Just me and Mr. Milgate, which sounds like a 2000s rom-com, me and Mr. Milgate.
Me and Mr. Milgate.
Doesn't it? It kind of does sound like, I like the ring of it.
Yeah. It's the alliteration.
It is. It's me and Mr. Milgate. Who I don't know who would have starred in it, but Paul, in your extensive filmography that includes many a reality show, what was the most memorable romance of your tenure in that world?
Well, I mean, I did work on like bajillion seasons of Farmer Wants a Wife. So the first farmer that went on to marry the person he met on the show. Seeing that romance evolve over the course of the series was really amazing. And we knew they were going to end up together, but you never know whether they're going to then get out into the real world and then make it in the big
after
bad
the
world.
Fact. Yeah, and once the cameras aren't rolling.
Yeah, shout out to Jess and Andrew.
Jess and Andrew.
You know, the funny thing is, I actually had to convince Andrew to be on the show as well.
Really?
So he'd applied. He'd been kind of dobbed in by friends.
So what is the format? Is it like a Bachelor style format?
It's kind of like it's like. In America, they only have 4 farmers on the series. In Australia, we do 5 farmers in the one series. So it's like 5 mini bachelors.
Okay.
So each farmer has 5 wives go out to each of their farms.
Wow.
5 potential wives go out to their farms, and they get to know them. But the main point of difference with Farmer Wants a Wife is that there's a genuine connection. So the ladies apply for the different farmers that they've seen on air. Mm-hmm. So that there's already a connection that's there. There's certainly an interest, as opposed to a Bachelor where people just get thrown in.
Right.
And it's like, you're good telly, make fall in love. But the Farmer Wants a Wife is actually about finding genuine love.
Oh.
So it's kind of the difference. So you have like 5 little mini bachelors all going on that I was kind of staying across.
Oh, that seems like it's so much to probably, as a producer, there's probably so much to keep track of.
There is a lot to keep track of, lots to keep track of.
But that must have been real romance for it to stand out in the midst of all those different couples and potential couples, for those 2 names to stand out in your mind. It must have been quite the romance.
It was. It was also it was the first one. So then other people in subsequent series have gotten together and stayed together. But
right.
There's a couple of engagements, but no one else has gotten married yet of the farmers that I got on the show. So
yeah, it's that first one. It's always that first. I always say that even Love is Blind, the very first couple that got engaged on the very first season are still the truest example of what the stated goal of the show is. Like 2 people that actually wouldn't have hooked up in real life, that never would have met, that got married and are still married to this day.
Yeah, see? It's possible to find love on TV.
It is. It's always possible to find love on TV.
Do I need to start using those skills and bring them in,
I think
cycle through some potential suitors, beaux, ladies for you?
I think so. I think when Adam's gone, we should just turn the show into
a dating show.
Fuller Wants a Wife. Yeah, Fuller Wants a Wife. We'll just turn it into a dating show for 2 hours. I'll sprinkle some headlines in there. I mean, like in the middle of the date, I'll be like, hey, girl, did you hear about Trump and Mamdani meeting? And so we have some real news in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's good. And I feel like it would be a missed opportunity to not do like the big fromance.
Yeah, the big fromance.
That's what the dating show should be called.
Fromeo. Yeah.
Yeah,
the big fromance. That would be great. You know what the greatest romance of all time is, Paul, is the love story between us and our audience.
Yes.
The afternoon shift and the shifties out there. If you want to show us some love on IG, the handle is afternoonshift_Fox9. You can keep up with the latest on the show. You can even DM us like Susan Peterson did. She told me, and I'm not listening, Susan. I'm sorry. I get excited, and I've already betrayed what you told us in the DM. She said, listen, I love the show, but please stop banging on the table. I can't take it anymore. And I believe she even added some onomatopoeia and added a bang bang, bang, bang,
bang, bang, bang
sound effect. I apologize, Susan. Sometimes I just get really into it, but we appreciate the feedback. Whether you have constructive criticism like Susan, or you just want to holler at us, or even maybe you missed a segment and you want to keep up with the latest news and information, afternoon shift _ Fox 9. Speaking of the latest news and information, let's get to the headlines before we get to the rest of the show. You know, it's a two-man operation on the show today, but when Paul and I meet up, it's not a big deal. But at the Capitol this afternoon, there was a meeting between perhaps the two biggest political figures in the country, President Donald Trump and New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani met for the first time today at the White House. I believe they're still meeting, speaking right now. Mamdani said yesterday. Should we check in on it, Paul?
They are still talking, but I want to give the caveat. You know, this is coming from live from the Oval Office. We don't know what we're going to hear here, but
right.
I'm happy to take us there. Is that what we want to do?
Let's do it. Let's take a listen.
Let's take a listen.
Have the number of police officers today, they are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Or are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social work?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes, we did. Commissioner Fish.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody.
So no promises that what they were going to be talking about was super interesting when
Right.
we take it live like that. But, you know, we do what we can. But like you said, it's interesting to see these two people who have been so outspoken about each other in the Oval Office together.
I know. I mean, and Mamdani said yesterday he wanted to make it clear that he's willing to work with the president on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers. And we were talking about it off the air, Paul. This is politics. Like, it's so unfamiliar to our 2025 pilled eyes, but in our 2025 rotted brains. But this is what politics is supposed to be. People from opposite ends of the spectrum coming together to make life better for the regular people like you and me.
So something was mentioned in the headlines today. I was listening to as well the podcast, and they referenced in that Trump privately has actually expressed his how impressed he is by Mamdani. Privately, behind closed doors, that he's a slick operator, he's a good talker, a slick politician, I think was what he said of him.
That sounds like something he'd say.
Yeah, it does sound like something he'd say. So, I mean, I feel like, look at them there. I mean, blue tie, red tie, like it's
right. I mean, it's the visuals are all right there. And you mentioned it just a second ago, Paul. They've had choice words for each other in the past. Trump once called Mamdani 100% communist lunatic, while Mamdani once described himself as Trump's worst nightmare. But they appear to be quite civil right now, possibly working together from opposite ends of the spectrum to make life better for New Yorkers.
Well, there's one thing that we've known about both of them is that they love the media attention that comes, and so to be each in their own create enough of a media hype together. I mean, this conversation is going to be talked about for a lot, and it's worth noting as well is we didn't plan to be able to take live shots of this in the show today. So this is the audience. This conversation was meant to happen a while ago and meant to be wrapped up, but it's still going.
It's still going. So maybe brand new friends between Donald Trump and New York City, shaking hands, dapping it up, and everything.
Everyone out.
Everybody get out. Now they got to talk about the real stuff. Brand new friends, possibly. New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani and President Donald Trump. Speaking of brand new, the Minnesota Raptor Center is welcoming a brand new ambassador. Who, you might ask? Well, you might get a who in return, a female northern hawk owl that is just a few months old and was given to the center in August, is the newest ambassador for the Minnesota Raptor Center. She was bred in captivity, so unfortunately she would not be able to survive in the wild. Luckily, the Raptor Center came in, swooped in, I should say, and now they got their newest ambassador, and I'm sure she's got a bunch of new friends there. The type of owl that she is, the northern hawk owl, a very rare, not usually seen in Minnesota, so if you want to go down to the Raptor Center and check her out, go ahead. And if you've you've noticed, I haven't referred to our newest Hawk homie, Hawk Owl homie, I should say, by a name. That's because she doesn't have one yet. The Raptor Center is leaving it in the hands of the people. They're a Raptor Center for the people, and you can vote online until 11:59 p.m. tonight. Don't wait till midnight. You'll turn into a pumpkin. You got 5 options. You got Sitka, I believe. I'll go with Sitka or Sitka, Serena, Zim, Aurora, and Frost. Once again, that's Sitka, Serena, Zim, Aurora, and Frost. You can vote online now. Speaking of the Minnesota Frost, the 2-time Walter Cup champions, the only team in professional women's hockey league to hoist the Walter Cup. The Minnesota Frost opened their season tonight in St. Paul against the Toronto Scepters, spelled the Canadian way with the R-E at the end. The Toronto Scepters, one of the newest teams welcoming into the PWHL this season. That's going down at Grand Casino Arena. If you want to go to the game, head on down to St. Paul. But if you want to watch the game, you can watch tonight's game and every regular season game right here on Fox 9 Plus and Fox Local as well. Elsewhere on the ice in the Steel City, the Wild will look to steal a game against the Penguins on the road. They've won 3 in a row and 7 of their last 10. They're red hot. They just might melt the ice down there in Pittsburgh. So go ahead and check out the Minnesota Wild. Maybe you can do a split screen situation. Both of them. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. for both of those games. And you might have to get a third TV in the mix as well because the Minnesota Timberwolves are in action in Phoenix tonight. NBA Cup action, the third of their 4 group stage games. They are 2-0 in the NBA Cup so far. Should they advance, they would make it to Vegas semifinals, and maybe they can hoist their first banner at the Target Center. The Timberwolves take on the Phoenix Suns. Speaking of red hot, they've won 2 in a row as well, 8 of their last 10. So the Timberwolves, after a rough, a little bit of a shaky start, heating up a little bit. So a big night for Minnesota sports. And speaking of Minnesota sports, it's a huge weekend. Obviously, you got the border battle, Vikings versus Packers in Lambeau Field. We'll be previewing that thanks to our friends at Box 6. Milwaukee a little bit later in the show. Black Friday is just a week away, and it's not just a good time for shoppers, but also a good time for scammers. So we'll be giving you the latest advice on how to avoid said scams. But coming up next, we're talking racial covenants. And if you don't know what that is, be prepared to learn because it's a topic of conversation that's growing here in Minnesota. All of that and more coming up next on the Afternoon Show. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. You know, if you're a fan of history, unfortunately, you eventually come to realize just how ingrained and firmly entrenched racism was and still is in U.S. society. It's everywhere. I mean, it's in obvious things like segregation. It's in odd things like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Google it. I swear to God. Even eeny, meeny, miny, mo has some questionable origins. I'm not trying to cancel eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm just saying this is how ubiquitous racism has been throughout U.S. society. And then there's things that many of us don't even know exist, like racial covenants, which has been a growing topic of discussion here in Minnesota. Here to talk about racial covenants and the Mapping Prejudice project designed to spot these racial covenants is Dr. Brittany Merritt Nash, a professor at St. Benedict and St. John's University. Doc, thanks for joining the show today. I got to start with the kind of obvious question because I feel like a lot of people in the audience, I totally know what it is. For the people in the audience that don't know what it is, what is a racial covenant?
Thanks, Max. Thanks for having me on today. A racial covenant is a clause that was inserted into real estate deeds in the early to mid 20th century in the United States. And those barred people who were not white from owning or occupying land.
And like how far did these things go? Was it specifically targeted like at Black people? Was it just anything? Did it go as far as sexuality and gender? Like how far did these kind of like boundaries reach for these covenants?
Well, they varied. They were based on race, so I don't think we've seen any that referred to gender or sexuality. But every racial covenant barred African American people. Some were as specific as saying that people of African descent cannot own or occupy that property. More commonly, you might see a racial covenant that said if you are not Caucasian, then you can't own or occupy that property. Other racial groups were targeted as well. So different groups from Asia and even from Eastern Europe. And then also we see some religious based racial covenants, particularly aimed at Jewish people.
Now, from my understanding of it, Minnesota certainly wasn't the first place to kind of, utilize these racial covenants, but it was kind of one of the places where it was popularized.
Yes, and I would say that, racial covenants existed all across the United States. So any community that people have looked for them in the U.S., they have found them, unfortunately. But in Minnesota, I think what has really led to more awareness about the existence of racial covenants is the Mapping Prejudice project at the University of Minnesota. Was the first in the nation to comprehensively identify and map the existence of racial covenants starting in Hennepin County and then help raise awareness to how ubiquitous these really were.
I definitely want to get to the Mapping Prejudice project, but I am curious, like, I feel the answer feels obvious, but you got to ask because you never know these days. These covenants, they don't still have any power right now, do they?
No, they were made unenforceable by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1948 and then fully illegal by the Fair Housing Act in 1968. So no longer enforceable, certainly illegal, but because real estate deeds and records are permanent public records, racial covenants from the past still exist on people's real estate records to this day.
And how can people find out if their property does have one of these racial covenants?
Well, if you are living in a neighborhood where Mapping Prejudice has mapped the area, then you can look on the Mapping Prejudice website. And so that for Minnesota, that's where you would look. We are working on identifying more racial covenants all the time. Sometimes you can find them by looking in your deed, but if you don't have the full historic deed, you might not be able to see it just by looking in the records that you might have.
Now, what was kind of like, all great superheroes and what you guys are doing is super heroic at Mapping Prejudice. All great superheroes have a good origin story, right? So what is the Mapping Prejudice kind of origin story? What spurred this project after all this time?
Well, I actually can't speak so much to Mapping Prejudice because I'm a partner. My organization is a partner with Mapping Prejudice. And so we are based in central Minnesota, and Mapping Prejudice is, of course, based at the University of Minnesota in the Twin Cities. And so my story is that 2.5 years ago at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University, my students had learned about the amazing work that Mapping Prejudice is doing. And they said, well, we know that racial covenants existed in St. Paul and in Minneapolis. What about in St. Cloud? What about in central Minnesota, maybe more rural areas? was. And so they started looking around in the county's property records, and they saw that racial covenants existed in central Minnesota as well. And so then we collaborated with Mapping Prejudice and with St. Cloud State University to launch the Great River Covenants Project that is extending Mapping Prejudice's work into more greater rural Minnesota to show really how far racial covenants ranged in the state.
Yeah, and speaking of how far they range, just how many are we seeing in this research that you guys are doing?
So we just finished, along with Mapping Prejudice, just finished mapping Sherburne County, and we found 356 racial covenants in Sherburne County across 7 different neighborhoods. We're also working on Stearns County. I've been working on that for a while, and soon that information will be made available as well. So far, we found around 100 in Stearns County, but we are going to find many more once we start the formal mapping process.
Now, I'm sure there's someone somewhere out there, some cantankerous someone out there that's watching this that's saying, well, if they don't have any power, why is it so important to identify these? Why is it so important to get rid of these? I'm assuming that's a question you guys get probably almost every single day. What would you say to that guy? Or
it is a question we get all the time. So I understand. I mean, I'm a historian, so first of all, I always say, well, the past is important to understand on its own terms. But also, we know that wealth in the United States is really passed through home ownership, through property ownership. So in the past, if communities or groups of people were barred from owning property, from buying a house, then that's going to have generational consequences. No property to inherit, right? Or maybe property that's less valuable to pass down. And we can see that borne out in just housing data across the state. I mean, Mapping Prejudice has information on their website, which I encourage everyone to check out. Their amazing public educational resources about information related to the Twin Cities. But here in central Minnesota, in the Tri-County area of Sherburne, Benton, and Stearns County, we see enormous gaps between Black and African American housing rates and then white home ownership rates. So in the Tri-County area, we have 75% of white people own homes versus only 15% of Black or African American people. So the generational wealth that we see as a result or a compounding effect of previous efforts to bar people from buying homes is something that has ripple effects into the present.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, like you said, lots of people are still dealing with it multiple generations later. And even if it's just a symbolic victory, a victory against racism is a victory nonetheless. Say somebody out there, they go to Mapping Prejudice and then they find out they do have a racial covenant in the deed of their home. What can they do after that?
So at that point, if a homeowner finds that they have a racial covenant, they can go through a process called discharging. This does not take the racial covenant out of the deed because, again, these are historic records, they're permanent records, but it rather adds an addendum to the record saying that the property owner disavows the racial covenant. So in most counties that have collaborated with Mapping Prejudice, including Hennepin and Ramsey counties, and then Sherburne County, which we just recently mapped, the recording fee to get that done is waived. And so homeowners can work with the Just Deeds Project or reach out to their county to work on getting those clauses discharged from their deeds.
And if people want to learn more about what you guys are doing, what the Mapping Prejudice Project is doing, where can people learn some more info?
So for the main Mapping Prejudice project, which again is based out of the University of Minnesota and has comprehensively mapped racial covenants in Hennepin County, Ramsey County, surrounding metro counties, and other parts of the state, you can go to the Mapping Prejudice website, and they have live maps. You can see if your home has a racial covenant. If you are interested in information specifically about central Minnesota racial covenants, then our website is greatrivercovenants.org.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today, Doc. We really appreciate it. And I got to ask you, what's next? Are you guys aren't stopping until all of Minnesota's covered, right?
That's the hope. The next county on deck is Stearns County. So we're hoping to have that up and available for community volunteers to help participate in creating these maps soon.
We appreciate all the work you guys are doing, and we appreciate your time today. Dr. Brittany Merritt Nash, College of St. Benedict and St. John's, a professor. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Man, I mean, it's just unbelievable, just kind of the depth and the amount of things that racism has seeped its perfidious claws into. And shout out to people at the Mapping Prejudice Project and people like Doc for doing all the work that they're doing. I'm curious, Paul, have you ever heard of such a phenomenon happening in Australia? Is this like a uniquely American? I can't imagine that it's a uniquely American thing, but have you ever heard of something like this happening in Australia? I'd never even, honestly, like I like to think of myself as a guy, a pretty well-versed guy, read the history books a couple times over. I've never heard of such a thing. I obviously know that's a practice that's been put in place, but the actual language within a deed is just kind of crazy.
Well, I can't speak to it because, like yourself, I actually didn't even know about that this existed as something until today when Grace started talking to us about it. And I don't think you'll be shocked to hear this, that racism is not just contained to the United States of America. There is definitely a terrible past of it in Australia as well. Maybe we will get into that one day. I can kind of fill you in on some of the stuff that did take place over there. Segregation obviously was a thing that took place between Aboriginal Australians and white Australians. And looking at the dates, like just looking back at some of the supers that we had here, the racial covenants were common in Minnesota from 1910 to 1960. So Australia was well and truly established at that point, and real estate. So I imagine that there are probably similar things written into the deeds in Australia too.
I would imagine.
We'd have to dig into it and have a look.
Right, maybe you can start the Mapping Perth project.
Mapping Perth.
you could start your own and figure it out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think that I mean, that it even happened, and I know that it did, and but it's just like, and then that the remnants of it are still entwined in everything that we do every day.
Everything. Like I said, even eeny freaking meeny miny mo. I mean, everything that you can think of, unfortunately. But here at the afternoon shift, and people like Dr. Brittany, we're doing our best work to fight the powers that be. Because I think personally, racism is a scam. I think it's a scam. it makes your life worse. You are bankrupt. You're going to be bankrupt morally, ethically, emotionally, psychologically if you subscribe to racism. It's a scam. Much like Black Friday, there's tons of scams around Black Friday, and I believe we're going to get into that a little bit in just a second, Paul.
We sure are, and I'm going to jump off now to make sure that our next guest is on the next Zoom. So.
Well, let's do just that, and while Paul does that, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, get my notes together, and we're going to be talking Black Friday scams with our friend Harry Maugans coming up next on the afternoon. Black Friday is right around the corner. Hell, it's only a week away. I don't know what that makes today. Maybe a caramel Friday, brown Friday, perhaps. But I'm not sure. But what I am sure of is that I read this morning that holiday sales are expected to surpass $1 trillion. Trillion with a T-R. And here to illustrate just $1 trillion from the great Dr. Evil. If we did that when Adam was here, he'd have no idea who we're talking about. Zero would go straight over his head. He'd have no idea who we're talking about.
Yeah.
We miss you, Adam. But Paul, you had a very fascinating illustration on just how much 1 trillion is when we were talking off the air.
I think this is incredibly fascinating. Normally it's in reference to dollars, how rich a person is. But
right.
This is just to give you some concept of just how much a trillion is, because it's just such a large figure that our brains really can't even wrap their heads around it. So here we go. 1 million seconds. 1 million seconds is about 11.5 days.
Okay.
Right?
Makes sense. Yeah. That seems right.
That's a decent amount of seconds right there. But 1 billion seconds is about 31.7 years.
Oh, so the 11 days compared to 31 years.
Yeah, but get ready to have your mind completely blown away here with this. 1 trillion seconds, just stab in the dark. What do you reckon 1 trillion seconds? If that's the scale, we've gone 11.5 days, 31.5 years. How big do you think we are once we get to 1 trillion?
I don't, maybe like 30,000 years.
31,700 years is what 1 trillion seconds is. So that scale.
What?
Just think about how much is being spent this year.
Oh my God.
31,700 years is how many 1 trillion seconds is.
That's a lot of dough flowing through the economy. And, back in the day, the risk of Black Friday was fighting somebody's mom for a TV in the electronics section of Walmart. But these days, it's the scammers you got to watch out for. And to help us stay vigilant in said watch is the CEO of Privacy Bee, Harry Maugan. Now, Harry, I got to start the conversation by asking you, have you yourself ever been scammed?
Every day I see an attempt. They're constantly coming, but so far I've been lucky.
So good for you. That's super. I got scammed one time. I don't know if it counts like electronically, the same type of scam we're talking about. I bought some fake tickets to a concert one time, and that felt really crummy, man. I was like, how could somebody do me? But I'm assuming that people aren't doing fake ticket scams or fake Black Friday scams on the streets like they did to me. How are people being scammed these days?
Same thing. It's just digital now. Now you might get an email from a concert in your city that says, they know there's a massive amount of the audience that live near the stadium that are going to go to that concert. So they just draw a big circle and hit every single person saying, hey, here's a new link to your tickets. And they know your email address because of data brokers, because it's being bought and sold. They Google people's name in that area and find their home address, their cell phone number, find all the information, send you here's your ticket link that's completely fake. So it's the same thing as you had a while back, Max, but it's in 2025.
It's just moved to the internet now. It's probably the same guy doing it too. I'll never forget what he looks like. So if I see him on the street someday, I'll have a stern talking to with him. And the answer seems obvious, Harry, but why is Black Friday such a good time for scammers?
There's a lot of money changing hands. There's a lot of craziness. Nobody is really as careful as they are through the rest of the year because of the craziness. There's the stress of the holidays coming up. They're themselves buying more than they bought recently, so they're getting a flood of receipts and shipping notifications and login alerts and credit card processing things, and it's just a flurry of activity. And as you know, scammers thrive in chaos.
Absolutely. And Black Friday, chaos is probably the key word there. Now, we know that these scams are taking place. How exactly are they working? Like you mentioned that you might get an email, but like say you click on the link, like how exactly are these scammers getting your information?
Well, that's a really important question, right? My example earlier of the stadium, you can find, the houses within 20 miles of a big, music venue or whatnot. But how do you know who lives in those houses, right? And then once you find out who lives in those houses, how do you find their phone number? right? Scammers not just going to guess random numbers and hope they hit somebody in that circle.
Right.
So a data broker is required. A data broker is a company where their primary business model is buying and selling your name, your phone number, your address. It's called PII, or personally identifiable information. And they make millions or billions of dollars just buying and selling people's numbers. So they draw that circle around the music venue, they buy all the people's cell phone numbers, and they just start spamming fraudulent ticket receipts.
My goodness, that is and almost anybody could just contact one of these information brokers and get some data from those guys.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever Googled yourself, right? You look out on there, an average person, their home address, all their numbers, relatives, family information, kids, addresses they haven't lived in years. There's so much information just out there. And a lot of people are saying, well, so what? Well, Black Friday, so what, right? When it's real, when the scammers weaponize it against you.
And I would imagine, like, if that isn't chaotic enough, another wrench kind of thrown into this whole thing is that artificial intelligence is way more prominent in our society these days. Are we anticipating AI to take a more kind of central role in some of these scams coming up this year?
100%. You look at AI, ChatGPT, and a lot of the consumer-focused, use cases, which is fantastic. What you don't see is the same models can, again, be weaponized in the hands of a person with malintent, right? Back to the same concert ticket examples you brought up, right? If they have a limited time window before that concert, they can't just go house by house doing hours of research on each individual person. There could be, 100,000 houses. So what they do is they teach AI how to craft this scam message. And it could be maybe even filtered by demographics they buy from data brokers. Like, I only want to target people 50 years old and up because they might have a higher incident of noticing. So they're going after people's parents or grandparents. And then they take that, the AI learns how the attack works, and then they just hit the big go button and wait for the money to hit their accounts as scammers. It's a terrifying world. They used to have to stand out on the street, like you were saying, and hustle.
Right.
Scam. Now they're just, sitting in their parents' basement as geeks, and they hit the big go button, and it's all automatic. It's terrifying.
Right. You don't even have to have like the gumption to hustle people eye to eye anymore. The skill set, the quick talking and wit to scam people, it could happen to anybody and everybody from anybody or everybody. So how can people avoid these pitfalls this Black Friday?
Cleaning up your digital footprint. That digital footprint's a kind of a phrase that essentially is, how exposed are you online? Is your information out there? Are you protected? Are you safe and private? Everybody has a level of privacy risk just by living in the modern age. We have to give our information to a lot of companies. And the companies you wouldn't normally expect often sell it. For example, a lot of states can actually, their DMVs have a law where they can sell driver information to other companies that sell to marketers. So it's not always the sources you'd expect. Like, people say, oh, when you go on Facebook and you see the survey to, take a quiz on what character you are. Sure, that's an easy way to get data, but it can also be more innocent feeling ways. But then after it gets out there, it percolates to the ecosystem. Data brokers buy and sell it, and then the scammers and the bad guys get it. And it's hard to really contain. So, Privacy Bee built a free tool where you can go there, plug in your information, and we scan thousands and thousands of sites. We scan Google in all kinds of different ways, different search engines, and we tell you where you're exposed. And then we give you free guides of how you can fix it yourself, step by step. It's a lot of work, but it's unfortunately one of the only ways to really prevent these kind of scams.
I'm just going to jump in, Harry. I've got a quick question because I feel like I was not almost scammed the other day, but at least the scam, I think, was on my doorstep. It feels like they're getting like oddly specific information though, because the other night, it was the last night before we had to change, if we wanted to change our benefits for the new year, our health insurance benefits. Get a phone call and this person has this oddly specific information about me, but then they start asking me to confirm my identity to them. And that was the red flag for me. I was like, I feel like if someone was trying to get in touch with me, they would have come to me some other way. But like, is there a chance that an insurance company was ever trying to get in touch with me and needed to confirm my identity, or should I just assume that it was a scam and then you just hang up the phone?
Yeah, to Paul's point, like, what are some red flag like words or buzzwords or phrases that you might see that you're like, okay, this might be a scam here?
So absolutely, that's urgency is one of the big ones. And if they have information on you, but they're calling you to confirm what they already have, that's, your spidey sense might want to go off on that one. Whenever I get a call from somebody who is authoritative, like my bank or insurance company, where you think it's real, just while you're on phone, put it on speaker and Google the phone number. 9 times out of 10, it's not a perfect solution, but it's usually an easy way to prove if it's a scam or not, because usually you find it popping up on random people's, personal phone numbers, or veterinarians, or not at all related to the insurance company who claims they're calling you. That's a very easy way to check. It's not perfect, but it's something. If you're ever uncomfortable, ever unsure, really the only true fire way, hang up. Say, let me call you right back. I have a bad connection. Go to the official insurance company, the official bank. Go to your email from something they've messaged you from their official account, and then call the direct number. They are more than happy to confirm if they reached out for a reason. Usually they have centralized records for why they reach out. It takes an extra 30 seconds, but it could be, the make or break for getting scammed.
See, that's why I always hang up when the bank calls me and says, Max, pay back your credit card. I'm like, hey, this could be a scam. I don't know for sure if I do owe my money on my credit card. But say I did get scammed. Say Paul did click on that email and gave them some information. What should people do next if they do fall victim to one of these scams?
The fastest thing you can do is freeze your credit, right? Because most scammers, why do they want your information? Usually they want money. If they get access to your credit card or something, obviously you freeze a card. That's a whole different conversation. But the most common thing they do is they get a few strategic pieces of information, like a previous address you lived at, like your social, or maybe they have part of the social from a data breach and they need the rest of the social. So they'll ask you to confirm the first 3 digits or the last 2, something they're missing. Whatever it is, they're trying to complete a puzzle of your profile, a dossier on you. They then take that information, and they usually, the most common is they go apply for a line of credit or a credit card. They get access to that credit capital, they drain the account and disappear. That's the most common use of identity theft or that kind of information. Now, I don't know about you, if you filled out a credit application recently, they don't need just 2 or 3 pieces of information. They need like a page of information on you to confirm, previous car colors. They need other
right.
The last 20 years of addresses. That's not easy to get over the phone. So what they'll do is they'll research you on data brokers, like what Privacy Bee protects. They find as much as they can, but usually it's just short of what's needed to steal your identity or open a credit card in your name. Then they'll call you, they'll text you, they'll try to get the last piece of information from you through social engineering or tricking you. And as soon as you give it up, then you're in trouble.
It's just, it's so intricate. They have so many different ways of getting your information these days. But you're the CEO of Privacy Bee. You're keeping people safe over there. What exactly is Privacy Bee for our audience out there?
It's right down the center of what we're talking about, right? When somebody comes to privacybee.com, we ask them for their email address, we scan the dark web and figure out data breaches they're in, any kind of exposures. We scan data brokers, people search sites, which is the scamming ones that show up in Google and the search engines. We basically find where their vulnerabilities are in the privacy landscape. And then we give them free guides of how to fix it. Now, oftentimes it's a lot of work, takes a lot of hours to clean it up. And then you have to go back and, next month and do it again because the data keeps popping up like whack-a-mole. So our core company service is either a monthly or an annual fee where we do it all for you. It's the exact same thing you can do yourself. We just do it at scale. It's anywhere from $8 a month to $20 or $30 a month, depending on how extreme you need your privacy to be. And yeah, our team is just experts at cleaning up and protecting people's information, which not only helps digital scams like Black Friday, Christmas, that kind of thing, it also helps physical safety. Your home address is out there. You have a bad date. The person shows up at your front door a few days later. There's a lot of reasons privacy is important.
It's scary stuff, Harry, but clearly the scammers got a lot at their arsenal, but we have the ultimate weapon. We got Privacy Bee and privacybee.com. Harry Maugan, the CEO of Privacy Bee. Thanks for your time today, Harry.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oof, scary stuff. Try to avoid those pitfalls, those scams like they're a crack on the street, because you don't want to break your mom's back, and that's that's not necessarily real, but these scams are very real. So try to avoid them out there this year during Black Friday. One thing we don't want to avoid is the top homie Lauren Andrego. She's back with some Lauren's List. We haven't done it in a little while. Let's see what's happening around the Twin Cities as we head into the holiday time. That's coming up next on the afternoon shift. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. You know, Santa's List, that's 2024. That's
true.
That's so old school. We're done with that.
Bye, Santa.
Lauren's List is what's in and what's trendy right now. And who else could bring us Lauren's List besides Lauren Andrego? I mean,
Hello.
we could find a different Lauren
We
to do
could.
Lauren's List,
That
but
is
there's nobody
true.
can do it like you.
But I'm checking it once, checking it twice, checking it 3 times.
3 times?
I'm one-upping Santa this year.
Wow.
So,
Because
good
he
luck.
only checks it twice.
Yeah.
That bum.
I know.
What a bozo.
And sometimes you need 3 checks
Right.
to be perfect.
Do you think you're on the nice or the mean list? I don't want to say naughty. That feels
Yeah.
like weirdly sexually charged. I don't like the word
As
naughty.
professionally speaking, I do think I'm on the good list this year.
You do?
Yeah, across the board.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
think
can't imagine you were ever on the bad list.
I didn't do anything bad
Yeah.
this year, and I did a lot of good stuff. What about you?
I don't know. You know, I'm kind of always like borderline.
You
I feel
think
like,
so?
I think Santa just kind of flips a coin every year.
Okay.
You know?
He was like working
He's
it
just
down.
like,
He's like, God, what are we
right.
gonna do
He's
about
just like-
Max
he's like,
this year?
What has Max done?
Last year he was
He
good.
was all right last year.
Then he had
but
that
this-
streak of bad years.
Yeah. Then he ended up on Facebook.
Oh,
then
and that's
was
when it took
like,
a turn for the
yeah, And then it
worst.
was like, boom. Yeah, so I might get a lump of coal this year. That's okay.
Shoot.
Because
Well-
I'd rather be in tune with Lauren's list than on Santa's.
Well,
list.
there you go. And you know what? There's a lot of like holiday stuff popping up. The week
Yeah.
of Thanksgiving is really when we take that transition from fall into full blown winter Christmas events.
And
So
we do it big in Minnesota. Like, we do it
yeah.
big.
We do it big. A lot of those major festivals and markets have already started. So instead, I thought I would find 4 of the quirkiest events happening this weekend that I'm certain you have not heard about.
I probably haven't.
I want to blow your mind one at a time.
My birthday's on Christmas.
That's right.
But I'm not usually, I don't get into the spirit. I'm not a Grinch. The Grinch is my favorite Christmas movie.
Really?
Yeah. How about you?
I don't know. God, I want to say Elf.
Yeah, Elf is a good one, though.
Just because
Elf
there's
is a
like
good
so
one,
many
though. It's a
quotes from Elf
classic,
that I use all year round. So I guess Christmas Vacation is really good. We watched that
I just
one
watched
every
that one
year.
for the first time last year.
Did you love it?
I did love it.
As a movie buff, I feel like you'd appreciate it.
I did.
It's got all the classics.
It's got all, and there's so many things that stemmed from it. You hear so many lines that you're like, oh my God, that's from this movie? And I mean, I like Chevy Chase. You know, I know a lot of people don't, but.
Before he took a turn
Yeah,
for the
before he
worse.
took a turn. He was the man until he very sharply
Well,
wasn't. But I want to get more in the spirit this year.
Yeah. Well, why don't you start at the State Fairgrounds?
Oh, wow.
Because I have a question for you. What if there was a holiday market curated for horse lovers?
For horse lovers?
Yeah.
Were you a horse girly? I feel like you were.
No. Okay. So I'm not really an animal person.
What?
I know.
Everybody that sits in this chair is always
that
not,
true?
'cause Adam
Doesn't like animals
at
either?
all. No. Like we had literal puppies in here, and he was like,
Oh gosh, well I love puppies, but I think big animals and animals that I don't know what's going on.
Horses
out
are
here
scary though.
Are a little scary and they're huge. But I did go to horse camp a couple of years, so I guess that would make me a horse girl.
That kind of counts. Grace, were you a horse girly?
No, actually, I was very allergic to horses.
Oh my gosh!
When I tried to go to horse camp, and I was into horses, and my mom was like, "Okay, great, we'll take you to horse camp." Within 5 minutes, I went into like almost full anaphylactic shock.
Oh my
I almost had to
God.
go to the hospital. And I was devastated. I was devastated because I wanted to ride horses. So I've never ridden a horse, but I think if I would have not been allergic to horses, I definitely
You'd get into it.
Yeah.
I would definitely get into it.
Okay, so Grace, not a horse
Not
girl.
a horse girl.
Very much not a horse girl.
Capital
So Grace,
N-O-T.
don't go to the State Fairgrounds this weekend because starting today, it's the Horse Crazy Holiday Market.
Horse crazy holiday market. You gotta say that one slow.
More than 100 vendors, yeah. More than 100 vendors, artists, makers, and exhibitors featuring equine and canine-themed goods, gifts, and services. So if you are shopping for the horse lover in your life, you can get all your Christmas shopping done today and tomorrow, 10 to 6, at the State Fairgrounds. Do you want to hear about some of the vendors that are going to be there this year?
I would love to.
Because I'm sure you were wondering.
I'm very intrigued in this. I've never rode a horse. I brought my daughter to ride a horse when she was very young, young lass.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've never been on a horse.
You should.
I'm kind of scared, but maybe this is the time.
You should. It's nice to go with a handler, so
Yeah.
because they know how to walk.
Know how to
Because the
do-
horses have like a couple different levels of they can walk, and then they can trot, and then they
Right.
can like run.
Yeah.
And you need someone who's a professional to like tell the horse what to do. But this weekend at the State Fairgrounds, you'll be able to find Brandy's rope halters,
Oh.
crystal spurs,
Crystal spurs. Hell yeah.
Deidre's custom leatherworks,
Okay. Talk
Full
about it, Deidre.
Stride, animal chiropractic.
Animal chiropractic?
A
I mean, I guess they
horse
probably got big backs.
chiropractor.
They have big,
A lot of
giant
vertebrae
backs.
there,
Yeah,
more than
long
us, I can
vertebrae.
imagine.
I've never even considered that being an occupation.
Yeah.
An animal
Chiropractor. Yeah. Do you think they get like one of those tables that you lay on, like that people lay on?
Right. Like, how does this work?
They say, like-
does the horse have the cucumbers on the eyes?
Yeah.
too?
Oh, that would be
and
nice.
just
Like,
a little, you
yeah,
know, towel
horse.
on
Turn
the
your
head?
neck to the left for
Yeah.
a second. This is just going to take 1 second. Then you just. Yeah. So you can learn all about that. Heart and brush pet portraits.
Wow.
Midwest saddle seats. Sharon Benson art and animal communicator.
Oh.
I think she might be a horse whisperer.
She's like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
like literally
Does she
making
speak
noises?
horse?
Yeah,
no, I
like-
think she tells you
she's
like, your horse thinks you're tying the saddle too tight.
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen like what's his name, the dog whisperer?
Yeah, what is his name? My mom loves that guy.
Yeah.
I think he's full of crap.
What-
But-
Caesar Milan.
Caesar
I was
Milan,
gonna call him
of course,
Bruno. I knew he had
Paul
a
and
cool.
Bruno.
Yeah, so I
My
think
name is Bruno.
there will be vintage clothing, jewelry, artists, food, and drinks.
This sounds absolutely incredible. And Minnesota's they got a big, healthy horse community, right?
Yeah, and if you've ever been to the Warner Coliseum, especially during the state fair, there's all sorts of fun activities you can see. So that's happening at the
sweet.
State Fairgrounds Friday and Saturday.
Might have to trot on over to that one.
You might have to trot on over. You might know how to trot down Highway 52 to Rochester tonight
Okay,
because
tonight.
guess who's in town?
Who?
Wait,
Beyonce.
let me send it to you through ESP.
Okay, I thought you were doing horse.
Let me try
whisperer.
to send it
Okay.
to you through the
ESP.
spirits. Can you listen? Can you
can't-
hear the spirits telling you who's in Rochester tonight? It's Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium.
Oh, no way.
even know who she is.
What? Yes, I used to love that show.
Did you watch that
honestly.
show?
Yeah, I did. I used to love that show.
On TLC from 2011 to 2019, she is the Long Island medium, and Teresa Caputo Live, The Experience, is touring America. It is at the Rochester Mayo Civic Center tonight. I know, right? And I know people who have gone to see her live, and they claim it's legit.
Real. It's real.
So she shares stories, she plays videos, she talks about, her experience on the show, but then she'll read people. Oh my God. And one time, so my friend was there, and someone right next to him wanted to be read. And so Teresa started reading, and she was like, oh, your grandma's talking to me right now. Your grandma who recently passed. Her name's Mary. And the lady was not vibing with it.
Like,
and so it was kind of sad to see the curtain be pulled back.
Yeah.
But then a lady right behind them raised her hand and she said, I have a grandma named Mary who just died. So Teresa had been reading just the wrong person right behind her.
It was like an antenna.
And
she just pointed in the wrong direction.
My friends who went said they totally bought into it after all of that. She has some major
that
skeptics.
Person was a paid.
I don't know because that's you never know on the show.
Know. But I do honestly I'm one of those people that when I'm far away from it, I'm that stuff. It's all a bunch of baloney. But then the times that I've been read, I was shook.
Oh, you've been read?
Yes, we had the first time. I used to work at a gentleman's club.
Yes, I've heard.
DJ. I worked the daytime shift.
Yes.
A lot of older ladies.
I like
a lot of
all
downtime.
the asterisks you need to put after that. Yeah, daytime.
DJ. Older lady, they're all 55 plus. We had a lot of downtime. They bring sandwiches every day.
Wow.
They make sandwiches. Everyone would bring different ingredients.
And you got read by a medium there?
Yeah. Well, one of them was a witch.
Oh my gosh, multi-talented woman.
Exactly. So she did a tarot reading. And granted, we're friends. She's actually one of my best friends in the whole world. Shout out to Wilder. She's probably not watching this show. But you never know. Shout out to her either way. But she did a reading. And granted, we're friends. She knows things about me, but not things that she knew from the reading. She was saying things that I had not told anybody.
Really?
And it was crazy. And then we had a psychic on this show. And she read me, and it was
It was spot on?
It was spot on.
And not stuff that she could have just because you're kind of on the internet. People
kind of
can
a little
learn
bit.
some
Yeah,
stuff
so my
about
daughter
you.
has alerted me. She's like, Google AI knows who you are.
Oh,
and I was
no.
That's scary.
That is
I'm
scary.
gonna try to replicate
But
me.
you're bought in on this phenomenon.
I am.
People can be mediums.
I'm 100% bought in, and so I think I would have a good time going to this. I gotta go tonight.
$68.25. Some tickets still available tonight at Mayo Civic Center in Rochester.
It's $68 for a priceless experience.
I would say so.
Yeah, for sure.
To communicate with someone on the other side, I would say that's worth $68.
And the Long Island medium herself.
Yeah.
We're wondering
yes, I did.
Yeah.
We're wondering if her hair is still
it's
this
gotta
high,
still be
because that bump it style has kind of gone out, but
Right.
I think it's kind of a
She's
New
got
Jersey classic.
Yeah, for sure.
They're
and
never
then maybe
Long
that
Island
affects that is functionally her antenna to the other world.
Oh, that's so
Nobody
true.
even thought about that.
That's like her what is this chakra?
The mind.
The crown chakra.
Crown. Yes,
the crown
the
chakra
crown chakra
is her hair.
It's her hair.
Wow.
This whole time. She's like
Okay.
Samson.
Well, if you want to stay in the Twin Cities, also this weekend, do you read Romantasy?
I do. I read
Do you?
everything. Yeah, I'm the type of kid I would go to the library. I go down every aisle and get
Really?
something. Yes.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
You're a
for
Renaissance man.
Thank you.
Romantasy is really blowing up lately.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's romance meets fantasy. It has skyrocketed in the fiction world as the #1 most purchased genre.
It's crazy.
Young adults are really leading the way there, and over the pandemic, a lot of us got into reading. And this weekend at the DoubleTree near the airport, Flames and Fables Romantasy Gala.
Oh.
It is a 3-day,
Hey.
2-night experience
Whoa.
in Bloomington.
Full experience.
Where romance and fantasy ignite. So this is an 18-plus event, but
Ignite.
don't let it fool you. There's
Sensual.
all sorts of stuff. A magical weekend celebrating romantasy literature. You can dive into the world with exclusive author signings, vendors and crafters. There will be panels, live readings, and something called cozy room parties.
Oh, that
So
sounds steamy.
on the surface, it's a bunch of people bringing their favorite books to a hotel to hang out and
Yeah.
meet other book lovers and just read. But there's so much
There's
more.
so much going on.
Highlights
Spicy
include
book club.
a tea party with romantasy authors, quiet rooms for readers, a book exchange, but there's more.
Oh,
An
what
all-weekend scavenger hunt kicks off
Okay.
Friday night as soon as you walk into the hotel.
Oh my!
There is
I'm
an
a sucker
all-weekend
for a
scavenger.
scavenger
Me
hunt. I
too.
love me a good scavenger
I
hunt.
love
honestly.
the thrill of the hunt.
Same.
It feels magical.
It does. It brings you back to childhood.
It
you know,
does.
that wonder, that mystery.
And life really is one big scavenger hunt when it comes down to
It's
it.
deep. Put that on a fortune cookie.
Flash tattoos, board game tournament, crash course in romantasy writing, massages.
I would love that.
Trivia?
I've always thought about, I wanted to make a pseudonym and like write romance
Yeah, you
novels.
should.
Yeah.
What would your pseudonym be?
I don't know. I thought I did have one, but I don't want to reveal it because I might use it
right,
still.
sometime you might use it.
Yeah,
and
but
might
you gotta. It always has to have like alliteration.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say fro in there.
Fro,
somewhere.
no fro. No, it
No
can't
fro.
be. Nobody would know. Be a totally different.
You wouldn't just be like Fro Scott Fitzgerald or something. That's stupid.
Scott Fitzgerald.
That's better, maybe.
Maybe Fro Scott Fitzgerald.
Yeah. So tarot readings,
Oh,
mermaids
mermaids
in the hotel pool.
real ones.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Adoptable puppies and
Does the
kittens.
scientists know?
LARPing performances, a
Oh,
fire
hell yeah.
circus, a burlesque show, and to top it all
Sweet.
off, a fantasy ball.
Oh,
Will
I
be
love
happening.
that. And everybody's gonna be dressed up. I'm
I think this
assuming.
is like the perfect weekend for book lovers.
Yeah.
Because there's a perfect mix of introvert extrovert activities going
Right,
on, and
for
you really
sure.
get to customize it to however you want. Limited tickets are still available here, but yeah, Fables and Flames Romantasy Gala.
I love it. It's gonna ignite at the gala.
Yeah, it is.
You described it perfectly. Like you could have a cozy room just to read. You could go to a ball.
Yeah.
You can do everything in between.
You
I
get a
love that.
tattoo and a massage.
I know. Like where else could you do
What the
that?
heck?
And then learn how to write your own novel.
And learn how to write your own
I feel
novel.
like it kind of all stems out of like the fan fiction craze,
Totally,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's kind of like
Which
an evolution of that.
really blew up in our early internet days.
Yeah, for sure.
Like age 14 Tumblr.
Yeah, like
Wow.
Twilight was probably like the biggest one. I
Twilight
would
was big.
say.
One Direction
One
was always
Direction.
also big. One Direction fan fiction
It's super
was
funny.
all over the
when people write
place.
fan fiction about real people.
Yeah, and not a
Yeah,
book. Like-
yeah, like these are not fictional characters.
No.
These are real people, and we are shipping them. As
Yeah,
they say.
shipping,
Yeah.
exactly. Ship, that term I think came from Tumblr.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same with Stan.
Stan?
Well, it came
Oh,
from
that
the
came from
Eminem,
Eminem song,
but
but
then made
from
famous.
Tumblr, we
From-
forever remember you.
Oh, R.I.P. Although I heard it's
It's
back.
still
but-
around, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. Okay, finally, have you heard about the Found Footage Festival?
No.
So this was started by two guys. They're childhood friends, but one writes for The Onion and one writes for The Late Show.
Oh.
So these are funny
Perfect.
guys.
Funny guys, yeah. Witty guys.
This is a celebration of videos that time forgot, dredged up in dusty thrift stores and estate sales throughout North America. So since the 90s, these two guys have been traveling all over and collecting old VCR tapes.
Wow.
Whatever they could find.
Anything.
Employee manuals. The first one was they found an employee training video from McDonald's. And they were like, there's got to be more of
Yeah.
these. They have collected an archive of over 13,000 VCR videos from basically the
Holy
80s through
cow.
the early 2000s. And they started this YouTube show called VCR Party Live. So once a week, they do a live YouTube stream and they just play videos
That's
and then do
amazing.
kind of like, where are they now? So they like find people that were in these medical safety videos and then find those people
What
and
are you up to
interview
now?
them. And now they're going on tour with it. So they'll be in Columbia Heights at the Heights Theater Sunday at 4:00, and they're just gonna show a bunch of these old VCR videos that they found.
That's
so
a brilliant bit, honestly.
it's
though.
funny.
Like,
It's
that's-
funny, and it is kind of now a lost art
For
of
sure.
VCR recording.
exactly.
Or I should say camcorder.
It's like a good
recording.
way to repurpose all that content that people went out of their way to make, and it's kind of a 2025 version of America's Funniest Home Videos.
That is so true.
So maybe some of them aren't funny. I don't know. Are they supposed to be all funny?
I'm sure
Or
some of them are funny, but some of them definitely aren't. Here are some of the categories
Okay.
that you can go on their website, FFF VHS. So that's Found Film Festival VHSarchive.com. You can see all 13,000 of their videos. And then if you want to use any of this old footage, you can just reach out to them and they'll give you a copy of it.
sweet.
They're kind of working as like a real archive
Yeah.
system.
Or if you saw yourself, maybe. And
Right.
you're like, oh my God,
You're
that's
like,
me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first Christmas. User guides, medical videos, magic, puppets, a category called obvious scams,
I would love to see those ones.
get rich quick videos, conspiracies, and a category called didn't age well.
Oh no.
But then also like old like 80s exercise videos,
Yeah.
some good celebrities
Typo.
and sports stuff, but really just having some fun looking through video footage that somehow ended up in thrift stores, like people's home videos that ended up in the public domain.
And to have 13,000 of them to
Yeah.
be that committed to this
Yeah, that
bit.
these two childhood friends have just been collecting since the 90s. It's been a passion project. They're both from Wisconsin, actually, but now they're traveling all over the country,
Wow.
showing off some of those
The
videos.
Found Footage Festival.
Sunday in Columbia Heights.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
That one seems fun.
That
I'd
seems
love
like
to
a
just
that
talk
seems
to
like a
those
lot
guys
of fun.
about
Yeah. Oh my God. Can
what
you
is
imagine the things they've seen?
the single weirdest video you've
yeah.
seen.
And you
That's
know
what I
they
want.
have an
Oh,
answer.
they do have an
They have
answer.
to have an answer.
For sure. So if you want to get into the holiday festivities, if you don't, there's plenty of stuff happening.
Always a lot going on in the Twin Cities,
Yes.
and you're always letting us know everything that's happening from, the north to the south to the east to the west. I don't know which direction we're actually pointing, if any of those are actually.
I think you nailed it.
I think I nailed it.
Yeah.
Never eat soggy waffles. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It also spells news.
News. And that's exactly what we are
Yeah.
right here on the afternoon shift. More to come in just a little bit. Back, second hour of the afternoon shift coming at you. You probably wouldn't have guessed that I was going to start this segment with a quote from former Cowboys receiver Dez Bryant, but he once said a lot of stupid things, but he also once said, records don't mean anything in a rivalry game. And from the Vikings' point of view, no truer words have been spoken this season, sitting at 4-6. This matchup is less about playoffs than it is about pride. And if you're the Packers, you're looking to stop putting that L in Lambeau and get your first win at home in over a month. It's been a fun ride for the Pack so far this season, but the Vikes will try to make that road a little bit more bumpy when they meet on Sunday, when the two teams face off for what I believe is the 130th time. Just an unbelievable history right there. But right now, no, we're not waiting until Sunday to talk about the game. Right now in the present, we got our buddy from across the Wisconsin border, Brandon Cruz, sports reporter for Fox 6 Milwaukee. Brandon, I just mentioned it. This is the 130th edition of the border battle, Vikings versus Packers. What is your most fond memory of this storied rivalry?
It goes all the way back to, when Aaron Rodgers would kind of dominate and just kind of really be able to win these games at Lambeau and really kind of silence all the critics that way. But, that to me is the biggest overall memory. The biggest memory would have to be the how do I put it? It was Randy Moss's moment.
Oh, yeah.
That would be the biggest memory I have to keep it somewhat clean.
Let's call it the Green Bay moon landing. Let's
Yes.
call it the Randy Moss moon landing. Certainly was a memorable moment in Vikings and Packers history. The Packers lead the overall series 66-60 with 3 ties in the middle there. I don't recall any of these ties. Maybe I feel like one was kind of within recent memory, right? Within the last 5 years or so.
I don't recall the last tie. It could have been. I don't. The tie I remember was this year with the Packers and the Cowboys.
Right.
So I know the Packers are trying to avoid any more ties.
No more ties. It's not a formal affair for the Packers. And it was funny. I was talking to my co-host Adam Lorenz, who's not here today, but he was asking me, because obviously here in Minnesota, I think it's without a question the Packers are the Vikings' chief rival. They're probably the chief rival of any sports franchise of any of the sports teams Minnesota has, right? But I guess I got to ask the question, you kind of want the reciprocation from your rival. Do you think the Packers view the Vikings as their chief rival? Because the stats certainly say so, but the fans might say different.
I would think that in terms of importance of games recently, yes, because the Vikings have been really good, whereas the Bears have not. And so if you look at it that way, I would think the importance of these matchups does create that bigger rivalry in a sense, even though the Bears and Packers has that longer tradition and they're closer in many ways that way. But I think because of the fact that playoffs have mattered so often recently that, this is as big of a rivalry at this point.
100%. And you just said it right there. And then, like I said, the stats back it up. The Packers have won almost 75% of their games against the Bears in the Lions. Since Brett Favre's first season in 1992, they've only won less than 50% against of their games against the Vikings. So certainly these games matter more in the grand scheme of it all. In terms of the grand scheme of it all, obviously, when you're looking at this 130th matchup, you have to start on the Viking side with J.J. McCarthy. He's been the subject of much conversation, and here in the Twin Cities, some consternation as well. I'm curious from the other side, what is your point of view, and what are your kind of opinions and thoughts on J.J. McCarthy thus far?
I think that the Packers defense is very excited that he's the one coming to town. His struggles are very obvious of late, and the fact that he is still so young and so inexperienced, missing so much time because of injury. He hasn't had a chance to develop a whole lot. And I think with this defense and the pass rush that they have, I think they feel very excited to get after him and to be able to create havoc for him. So to me, this is a welcome quarterback coming into Lambeau Field for the Packers. And I think it's one of those opportunities that they need because the way, as you mentioned before introducing me, is how bad the Packers have been at home in the last few weeks. This is something they need to kind of move forward and kind of get rolling as we start to get closer to December.
Exactly, and I want to get back to the defense in a second. They've been absolutely incredible. But speaking of struggling, I mean, outside of last week's performance, it's been a little bit of a struggle for the Packers offense as of late. In your opinion, I know you're not a doctor, Brandon, but diagnose the Packers offense. What's been ailing them?
They're trying to run the ball to no effect. I mean, that's been the biggest issue. They can't run the ball, and then a couple of times, Jordan Love and the offense have come out flat on top of that. So there doesn't seem to be this energy that we've been used to with this offense, especially under Matt LaFleur, and it doesn't help that they can't run the ball, even though they had Josh Jacobs. He's questionable going into Sunday this time. So, I think that they have to figure out how to bring that energy, how to move quickly and be a little more urgent. And the wide receivers have to start catching the ball. They've been dropping so many of Love's passes that it's just been an ineffective offense. I mean, you only score 7 points against the Eagles, you lose at home. You only score 10 points the week before that at home against the Panthers and lose. This is a team that if they score 27 points, it seems to be their magical number. That's when they win the game. And sure enough, last week they were able to score the 27. So to me, it's a matter of urgency, it's a matter of confidence, and it's a matter of playing to your strengths. And their strengths are passing the ball and not running it so much at this point.
Yeah, that certainly has been the strength. And I mean, doesn't the Vikings? If they were going to get a ground game going, the Vikings would be a team to do it against. They have not been great against the run. They have been pretty dang good against the pass. So certainly it'll be formidable for Jordan Love there. And obviously, we mentioned it. The Packers defense is pretty much top 10 in almost every conceivable category. Micah Parsons has lived up to everything on the 10. I think he's got 8 sacks in 10 games, something like that. 56%, 56 different pressures, second in the league. I mean, he's been absolutely incredible. This Packers defense is almost flawless, but you're watching every single game. I'm sure as an analyst and a fan, there's got to be something that worries you a little bit about this Packers defense, right?
They don't turn the ball over. They don't create turnovers so much. And that has been so huge in the past for this team. That has kept them in games. That has given them opportunities on offense with short fields. And this year, that has not been a big part of the defense. Now, you have to wonder if a part of that is, like the Eagles and the Panthers just ran the ball so often that there isn't a lot of opportunity for interceptions or creating pressure on the quarterback to maybe cause another fumble there or force a bad throw. But still, that has been their weak link on this defense, is not being able to get the ball turned over. So then they're on the field for a longer period of time, and that wears them down. And then you can see teams start to really run on them. So that, to me, is where the weakness is, the fact they can't turn it over, and then they have a tough time stopping the run.
Brandon, I'm sensing a trend here. I'm going to say this again, but what a good team to face off against if you're not generating turnovers is the Minnesota Vikings, who I believe are -9 in the turnover differential. J.J. McCarthy, I think almost every game he started so far this season, multiple turnovers. Obviously, we're wishing him a better chance out there this weekend, but it's going to be tough against that vaunted Green Bay defense. And Brandon, every team has their unsung heroes, right? Like here in Minnesota, guys that, we know Andrew Van Ginkel, but maybe the nation doesn't know Andrew Van Ginkel as well as we do. Every team has their unsung heroes. Who's been a guy that hasn't gotten all the hype for the Packers this season, but has been a key to their success?
I'd say Emmanuel Wilson, the backup running back to Josh Jacobs. He's a different change of pace, a different style of runner, a little more explosive right off the bat. And I think when he's had to come in and fill in for Jacobs, he's been very effective. Now, he hasn't had to carry the workload in a game so far this year, even though he did get a majority of the work last week when Jacobs left with the knee injury. So I think when you see him come in, and if he gets the start this weekend, he could be a difference maker just because of his style of running and the way he changes the dynamic of that offense. But I mean, don't get me wrong, Josh Jacobs is a much better running back, a much more reliable running back. But in the mid, while this is going on with the injury, I think that Emmanuel Wilson could really play a different role for this team.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I looked earlier this week, and then the Packers injury list was longer than Santa's naughty or nice list. I mean, what was the injury report looking like on the last day of practice here today?
Yeah, well, Josh Jacobs did practice today in pads. He's one of those guys too. When you talk to him, you realize he just wants to be out there. He loves this game. He doesn't even like to watch it. He said yesterday how much he hates watching football, to the point that when he's not going to play anymore, he's probably not going to even watch the game anymore. He just wants to be on the field, and he loves that. And I have a feeling that he's doing everything he can to get on that field, and it's going to be a situation where I think the medical staff has to really step in and make sure that he is healthy enough to go, because he's a guy, to me, that will just tell everybody, I'm fine, I'll be out there, let's go.
He sounds like a capital D dude, Yeah, you got to give credit where credit is due, and Josh Jacobs certainly deserves some credit. Now the Packers, the Vikings came into the season with pretty decent expectations. I think people had playoff expectations, not necessarily Super Bowl aspirations, but the Packers, it's a different story. You guys came in, I think, top 5 in Super Bowl odds, kind of on the cusp of breaking through over the last couple of years. And then obviously you came in with those expectations, and then we're in an NFL a little bit halfway through the season that has more parity than maybe I've ever seen in a season. It seems like everything is so wide open. No team is unstoppable. Just how far do you think this Packers team can go as you've seen them thus far?
I think they have the potential to be good enough and compete with anybody to get to the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. But at the same time, they've been so inconsistent, and they haven't been able to dominate. I mean, they had so much swagger when they beat the Lions in week 1 and then the Commanders the following week. But after that, we have not seen that with this team. And I don't know if it's a lack of confidence. I don't know if it's the inconsistencies that we've seen on offense. I don't know if it's been the injuries. As you mentioned, so many guys banged up just even going into this week. So when you look at it, I just wonder if they can get that back. Now, historically under Matt LaFleur, from this week on, week 12 on in the NFL, they are fantastic, and especially at home. So that would bode well for them this weekend, and that would also bode well for them as they move forward, even though they have a number of road games to close out the season. So to me, they have the potential to be there. Would I put them there this week? No way, not at this point. But it's not December. They haven't had a chance to play within the division with the exception of the opening week. I think the next 3 weeks will really kind of tell where this team is in terms of making a Super Bowl run because they play all divisional games.
And whether or not they make a Super Bowl run, a win this weekend would be huge for the Pack. And obviously it'd be almost a season saving for the Minnesota Vikings, who have just slim chances. Improbable, but not impossible. Brandon, what's your score prediction for Sunday?
I think the Packers win 27-16. I just think that they're too good defensively. They're going to create a lot of problems for J.J. McCarthy. He's not going to be able to be as effective as he'd like, and I think in turn that's kind of going to get the Packers offense going and get them into a position to hit that magical number. And I see 27-16.
Yeah, it might be a rough day for JJ in Green Bay. We'll see on Sunday right here on Fox. Kickoff is at noon. I'm assuming you guys over there at Fox 6 will have this game covered like a blanket wrapped in a Snuggie inside a burrito, right?
Yeah, we do. We have a special edition of our newscast with all kinds of live reaction from Lambeau Field following the game. Tim Van Voorn and I will be up there really early that morning getting ready. So, yeah, it should be a very big day for us.
Well, I know you got a lot of prep to do. I'm sure it's a busy weekend for you guys down there at Fox 6. So we appreciate your time today, Brandon.
All right, thanks, Max. Enjoy the weekend.
Of course. Well, it depends on if the Vikings win or not. That'll determine how much I enjoy the weekend, but I enjoyed our conversation. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, take care.
Brandon Cruz, a sports reporter for Fox 6 Milwaukee. He may be off with us, but we're still cruising towards the weekend. We're going to bring Lauren Andrego back in the mix for some afternoon tea. Oh, what's good, Paul Milgate?
I just wanted to pop in because I want to know what your score prediction is for
Ooh.
I mean, you were always so generous in asking, but I want to know the tea from you.
That is true. I don't often.
I'm just going to put it out there. I didn't want to jump on when Brandon was on. I reckon the Vikings. I think this is their weekend.
They're
going to get in the zone psychologically between now and Sunday. And there's nothing motivates you more than an enemy crowd.
That's true.
Right? They're at Lambeau, so they're going to feel the pressure. I think this is when JJ's going to step up.
I like it. Expert analysis from Paul Milgate. Who said you don't know ball, Paul? Not me. Certainly not me.
Never you.
I'm going with
Fax
you.
Muller.
That's Fax Muller. That's Fax Muller that says that nonsense, that hullabaloo.
I'm even going to be as cocky to say I'm going to take Brandon's score of 27-16, flip it on its head. It's the Vikes that take the 27.
Ooh, 27. So not even a last-minute win, second, a comfortable win from the Minnesota Vikings. See, I'm not going to go that far, Mr. Milgate, but I do think the Vikings get a win on the road in Lambeau. They keep the Packers' L streak going at home. Because like Brandon said, I actually think it was well said, because that was kind of on my radar as well. This Packers team does not generate turnovers. J.J. McCarthy, this Vikings offense have been turnover machines. They were one of the best in the league in turnover differential. Which for people that don't know, that's how many turnovers you generate versus how many turnovers. Yeah, people that don't know, right? Like you know, because you're a ball knower, so you know. But I'm explaining it, to the plebs out here, exactly. The newbies out here. It's how many turnovers you generate, factored into how many turnovers how many times you're turning over the ball. So that the Vikings being -9, that only means that they're turning over the ball a lot. That means the defense is not in turn getting turnovers as well. So the Packers they don't turn the ball over a lot, but like Brandon said, the defense is not a ball-hawking defense. They don't go out there and generate turnovers, which has kind of been a backbreaker for J.J. McCarthy in this offense. And listen, the pack is going to be tough. Micah Parsons, that defensive front is I am not envious of J.J. McCarthy this weekend. Most weekends I am. He gets to be a quarterback in the NFL. He's probably got a beautiful family, millions of dollars, whatnot, but not this weekend because Micah Parsons is a dude, and not just a capital D, a capital U, a capital D, and a capital E. He is a dude, one of the best in the NFL, probably when it's all said and done, one of the best of all time. So he's going to be on JJ's butt like white on rice all weekend. But man, I really do, with all the different frustrations, it seems like this is kind of a boiling point moment, and you either make or break. JJ McCarthy could turn into Cole, or he could turn into a diamond. And
I reckon it's the diamond.
I think it's a diamond.
There's so much talk about, and like, so everyone nitpicking his game and how he should have done it, needs to run the ball more, all that sort of stuff. I just think that enough of that gets in your head, and like you said, you become Cole or you become a diamond. And I just think, I don't know, maybe this is no, it is the weekend where it becomes a diamond. Lambeau against Vikings #1 competitor. Maybe we're not the Cheeseheads #1 competitor, but they don't see us as a rival like we see them like a rival.
That's okay.
Whatever. They go out, they're going to wear those stupid foam cheese heads.
The dumbest thing ever. The dumbest sports memorabilia ever.
And JJ's going to look at them and be like, I got you.
Exactly. They're too busy fighting their stomachs because of all that dairy that they're consuming to truly recognize their real rivals, the Minnesota Vikings. The stats back it up. And the Packers, they got a slight little edge in the series, but I think edition 130 of this border battle, Vikings versus Packers, the first of 2 this season, because don't forget, the Packers are coming to U.S. Bank Stadium, I believe, the last week of the season. So depending on what happens this game, that could be a really pivotal game.
Border battle, is the tug of war in Hudson this weekend? Did that get approved finally?
I don't know. I saw that they didn't get approval, right? They're having a little bit of a problem.
Last year I went to the Stillwater one, and that was really interesting to see, but the Packers won constantly over and over and over again. But it'd be interesting to see what's happening, because they didn't get approved for Stillwater, or maybe they were sharing the love and letting it go to Hudson, but yeah.
It's gonna be in Wisconsin this year. It says across the St. Croix River after officials rejected a request to use the Stillwater lift bridge.
Yeah, so it's not on the lift bridge this year. You know what was weird about it anyway, if I'm completely honest? I feel like the tug of war didn't actually happen right where the border would be anyway. So it's kind of like, why are you on the bridge anyway?
Yeah, so what does it really matter then? Yeah, you got to kind of do the whole
So they're just going to do
right?
it in Hudson proper, I guess, are they? Like in Wisconsin?
Yeah, they're going to do it, I think, as to my knowledge, reading this story right here, it sounds like they're going to do it along the St. Croix River. That's where the storied and vaunted tug of war battle. Have you ever been a part of a tug of war?
I have been a part of a tug of war. I can't remember when. I know that I have. I feel like it was at school.
Yeah, I feel like school is where they always happen. Not just in gym class, but like there's always the teacher versus students kind of tug of war where they do the bit where they pretend for a little while, and then right when they're about to get defeated, and they just woof, and they pull it right under the rug of the students. But it always is a good bit when the students do end up winning. And I imagine these days, hey man, sometimes I'm out there on the basketball court at the park. I'm playing basketball with a kid who's like 6'5", and I'm like, hey man, so like, where do you work at? And he's like, work.
I'm 12.
He's like, I'm taking an English class in 7th grade tomorrow. It's like, what? You're 6'5". These kids are huge these days, so I don't know. The teachers got their work cut out for them in multiple ways.
Yeah, I'm actually only 11.
Right. I mean, Grace looks like she could be 12, so it would scale for what we got going on.
I also just want to give a shout out to Daniel Owens, who DM'd us during the show. Daniel, thanks for following us. Thanks for the love.
Shout out to Daniel.
I love the show.
I recognize that name. I feel like he is a KFan listener that has shown me love before. Maybe I'm wrong.
Love the love. Always love the love.
We appreciate the love, Daniel. We appreciate the love from everybody out there reaching out to us on socials. Afternoon shift _Fox 9. We're live on YouTube, the Fox 9 local app, all types of stuff. And we're going to keep being live until about 5 o'clock. Coming up next, we got Lauren Andrego. She's back. A double dose of Lauren. We just missed her so much that we wanted to spill some afternoon tea with Lauren Andrego. All of that and more coming up on the afternoon shift. successfully here. No Adam Lorenzo. We figured why not have a double dose of Lauren Andrego?
Just flipped the AL, made it LA.
Oh, I like that. Flip the AL and made it LA. We wish you love and peace wherever you're at, Adam. But he doesn't like to spill the tea anyways. He's not an afternoon tea kind of guy.
He's not as dramatic as the two of us.
No, exactly. He's not as catty as the two of us. You know, we like to spill tea. We like to goss.
Yeah, and you're spilling the tea for me today.
I'm spilling the tea today.
Here to
but
listen.
actually, who's going to take the lead is Mr. Paul Milgate, because the biggest tea to spill is that Wicked 2 is in theaters. I believe it's called Wicked for Good. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
And obviously, the first one set the world on fire, broke records. I mean, it made stars. I mean, Ariana Grande was obviously already huge, but I don't think anybody had really heard of Cynthia Erivo. Like, not
outside of the musical world.
The musical world,
totally.
definitely. She was already known, but now she's a bona fide superstar. And it was just this whole cultural phenomenon, and we're doing it all again. Wicked for Good is in theaters right now. And Paul Milgate was one of the first people in Minnesota to see it. An exclusive. Paul, your review.
I'm very rarely the person on trend, like right on trend. So, you know, going to see it the day that it's out, you know.
I don't know. Those cornrows you had yesterday. Did you see that picture that Paul? Paul had cornrows at one point. He showed us.
Accidental cornrows. It's a story. I'll tell you after this.
Oh,
I genuinely had accidental cornrows. I didn't seek them out.
That's the funniest thing in the world.
I have
it's
questions.
Legit. I understand you've got valid. It's valid to have questions with that. But anyway, we're here to talk about Wicked for Good.
Yeah.
Right? Massive, huge. The first film, like you said, Max, gangbusters. Look, I liked the second one. I liked Wicked for Good.
Okay.
I didn't love Wicked for Good.
Sounds like you're breaking up with it.
Oh no! Right, it's not you.
It's a tricky one because John M. Chu had said, and anyone that's familiar with the play, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, so that's what I'm going to try and tread really carefully here with this, so that I don't give anything away, because I know that people haven't had a chance to go and see it this weekend, but John M. Chu had mentioned that...
And he's the director.
He's the director, for those that don't know. He had hoped to take Wicked for Good down a slightly darker path.
Oh.
And because anyone that is familiar with the play knows that the second act isn't as song and dancey as the first.
Right.
Really?
Act. Yeah. All the good... This is a
I've never
spoiler.
seen the
For
first
anyone
one.
that's
I've never
seen
seen
it-
the musical.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone that's never seen it, the bangers are in Act 1.
Yeah.
All the
Okay.
great
Defying
songs
Gravity,
are in Act
Popular,
Yeah.
the No One Mourns the Wicked, the
Yeah.
Loathing song.
Wizard and I, all the songs that you can sing
Can I
along
ask
to.
real quick
Yeah.
before you keep going? Like, what did the first movie add to the musical? Like, was it just kind of like a shot for shot of the musical, basically, or
I
what
think
did
it
it
was a pretty
add to
close
like the
representation? You got a little bit
Plot-wise.
more. You got a little bit more context, maybe, of who the characters are, which is hard to do on stage. You know, you go
Right.
from this massive Broadway musical to everything sort of happening here in the close-up. So you get that. You kind of feel like you get to know the characters a little bit more, and that should be said maybe in this as well. That Cynthia Erivo, like you mentioned, massive West End Broadway star, to transfer to screen and just be so phenomenal in the close-up. Like, you were watching her cry for real. Somewhat spoiled and tainted by the fact that we've seen her cry in every single press interview that she's done with Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande drops an eyelash, Cynthia Erivo cries. So it's a little bit painful, like, to know that. I just feel like you maybe lose some of that cinematic wonder that you get with other stars, like a Nicole Kidman, who you don't really see that much of. She does the press, she does what she needs to do, she goes home. And so when you see her in the stage and she kind of takes on a character, it's a really transformative experience as an audience member. I feel like maybe the overdone press of Wicked has maybe tainted your connection with her in that role, maybe? I don't know, but maybe that's
I can
just
see
me.
that.
It's
Man,
a fine line these days, right? Between being mysterious and being like accessible.
I mean, it made $1 bazillion, so it did the trick. They got people to the cinema to see the first one. But yeah, I mean, maybe from the cinematic magic kind of perspective, we lost a little bit of something by seeing them so much in the lead up to the film.
That was really interesting to me. It feels like since I saw the first Wicked, they've been promoting the second Wicked.
Yeah, like right away.
We didn't really get a break there.
It's been relentless. It has been relentless.
So did you leave the theater feeling disappointed, Paul?
You know what? This is probably something that I didn't realize until I left. I didn't really love the stage play either. So I probably left feeling about the same as what I did when I saw it on
Interesting.
stage. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good. If you love Wicked, you are gonna love it. There's no question. If you like musicals, you're gonna enjoy it. Like I said, I liked it. I didn't love it.
And that's kind of what the reviews have been saying too,
Yeah.
right? They've been a little more mixed than the first movie.
Yeah,
I
that's
do
what
have
I've been hearing.
one surprising thing, and I hope it doesn't ruin it for people, and I'm going to tread really carefully here with it.
All right, give it 5 seconds. 5, 4,
Yeah, tune out if you
3,
don't want to hear this.
2,
I
1,
want to hear.
go.
Okay, so Jonathan Bailey, the sexiest man alive.
Objectively.
Objectively now the sexiest man alive.
That's just, the people voted for it.
They
I
voted
mean,
for it?
Again, I feel like I was robbed, but that's neither
You were a
here
very
nor
close
there.
second, I heard. Very close second.
Thank you.
Runner-up.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, first one
Jonathan
to lose,
Bailey,
like Ricky
though,
Bobby said.
this guy that has, I've seen him in everything. In press interviews, it's like you think he has sexual chemistry with the reporter, you know? Like he is.
Yes.
Like he is in everything he's been in. It's kind of been like, this guy has chemistry with this person. Now, he has a scene, a sort of romantically charged scene with someone in this film. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it one bit.
It felt fake.
It felt really performative, and it was kind of a shame because it's kind of a key plot, and it kind of is the whole reason of the movie and the play. And I didn't buy
Wow.
Interesting.
Is it because of, do you think it's because of the background information that you know about all the actors? Do you think that has anything to do with it? Because we've
it. That
pulled
he's
back
not
the
particularly
curtain so
interested in
much.
women. Is that
Well,
there's
partially.
that. But I feel like I've seen him play. Like I said, I've seen him have sexual chemistry with a number of people
Yeah.
on screen, and this time, and John M. True again did everything he could to make it feel whimsical and romantic, and all the cinema tricks in the book, and I didn't get there.
Interesting.
How do you feel about, I'm curious, because obviously like the common criticism for both movies has kind of just been, at least I've seen on social media, has been like the coloring. A lot of people think it looks like very dull, like compared to the original Wizard of Oz. Did you feel like it looked like dull and dark?
I actually thought that was in the first one, I thought it was a really clever spin on it. We were so used to that Technicolor from the Wizard of Oz, the bright reds, the bright yellows, and to see the pastels be played with in such a different way, I thought was really clever. What's interesting is that there are some much stronger colors in this one. The Yellow Brick Road features heavily in the second act of Wicked. And so you see that in vibrant yellow. So I think it's probably, in some ways, there's more saturated colors, but it takes a darker tone in terms of editorial.
Oh man, that was my favorite part of the whole show, was just seeing the world that they built.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that again and maybe new glimpses of it.
Yeah.
But
You're seeing it tonight, right?
yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Paul.
Did I ruin anything, Lauren?
No, you
Okay,
didn't.
good.
But I've seen the musical several times. I know how it goes. My boyfriend has not. He's only seen the first act,
okay,
like
so he doesn't know
via
what's
the movie.
happening,
He
yeah.
doesn't know what happens.
Right.
But without spoiling it, the big end. They revealed it. If you were paying close attention in the first act, they spoiled the ending for you.
Really?
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about? We'll talk about it off the air.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think we have to
I
talk
do
about
want to
off
see.
air.
I know it's going to be like a 6-hour investment, so I can't probably do it all in one weekend. But I do want to end up seeing the first and the second one, because I feel
Don't
like
watch the second one first.
I missed out on the whole cultural phenomenon. You know, like
It's not too late.
I want to be a part of it this time. Maybe I'll paint myself green or something.
You can go to the cinema. They have got so much Wicked merch going on at the cinemas. They've got pink and green popcorn. There's slushies in pink and green.
And
like,
it's in
they've gone
every
all
store.
Yeah, everywhere.
Like Target, it's
No,
all
literally, they've
girls.
collabed
If
with
I were
everything.
turning 11 right now,
Yeah.
that would have been
Oh.
all I was asking for my birthday. Okay, this is
everywhere.
great. Paul, I really admire your opinion as someone who's observed a lot of movies in theater critically. So, whatever the Washington Post says, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got what Paul Milgate has to say.
Paul
That's what
Milgate
I care about
Is
hearing.
the resident movie review? Just take over Fresh Tomatoes, Paul.
No, I'm not going to
Just
take
take it
over
over.
Fresh from
Just take
Tomatoes,
it over.
But I would say that it would get a solid chunk of a fro.
Okay.
Maybe not a full fro. But
Not
it
a
would
full
get
fro.
It would be almost there.
Like 3/4 of a fro.
Maybe even more than that.
Okay.
You know, because it's still enjoyable.
Sure.
It's still
like a fro with
enjoyable.
like a part. You know, like the barber just went rogue for a second. Just, like maybe throw
just
with,
like a little,
bald spot.
just like one cornrow.
A little, one cornrow, or like one little bald spot.
side.
All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty
That's
good.
my review of Wicked for Good without trying to give away too many spoilers.
Love it.
Well, I think you spoiled the entire movie, but thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
Kidding.
He didn't tell you that everyone
They all
dies.
die. They all
at the end.
die.
Yeah.
I was really hoping. That's the one thing I was hoping when I go in the theater. Is like, I
ruined
don't
it.
hope that everybody dies. Or I do hope that. No, I hope nobody dies. That's what I'm trying to say.
You'll have to find
Either
out.
way, it's not Paul Milgate's movie of the year, but I'm curious, Lauren, do you have an artist of the year, a musical artist of the year? Because Apple Music does. They named their artist of the year just yesterday. I'm curious who you think this year's artist of the year is, in your opinion.
And they didn't pick Taylor Swift.
They did not pick Taylor Swift.
You know
she
what?
was the 2023 recipient.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. There were so many artists that stand out. I think Sabrina Carpenter had a banner year this year.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Bad Bunny has been so fun to watch this year.
A lot of fun.
I really loved a couple of new artists, Lola Young, who had to cancel her tour mid-tour. She was coming to St. Paul, and we really wanted to go see her, but she's the one who sings, "I'm too messy."
Oh,
you know that song?
Yeah, and she's got like the really funny accent,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, she's got Cockney, like, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Paul would know better than I did.
For sure.
But she's got an amazing voice. She's a cool shtick. And I think she's really unique, and I'm excited to see where she goes next. She took some time off for her mental health, but she's very young.
Yeah, 'cause she blew up.
Yeah,
like out of nowhere.
And has her whole album's so cool. And also Ray. Do you know who Ray is?
No, I
Her
don't
name
know
is
if I
spelled
do.
Raye. She's doing
okay,
this
I've
like
seen that,
50s. She sings, "Where the hell is my husband?" You know that song?
No, I've never heard
I am
that.
song.
That
You don't
sounds
know what
interesting,
song
though.
I'm talking
No,
about?
I've never heard it.
Oh, baby.
I like
Look
the
it
head
up.
bob movements, though.
She does that. But yeah, she's very like 50s, 60s showgirl vibes.
Kind of like big
band.
Yeah.
Exactly. She wears pearls.
Rat Pack type deal.
Yeah. She sounds like she could have sung with Frank Sinatra.
I love that. I love that kind of music.
I have a feeling
listen to
those
Sammy
two-
Davis Jr. all the time, actually.
Was he the artist of the year for Apple?
He was not. Sammy
What?
Davis Jr. was not the artist
Dang
of the
it.
year. It was not Ray
Snubbed again.
either, or Lola Young. It was Tyler, the Creator.
Really?
Tyler, the Creator, the 2025 Artist of the Year. Past recipients: Billie Eilish won it a couple times.
Yep.
The Weeknd, Taylor Swift, Bad Bunny, Lil Baby. That seems kind of
Oh.
like one of these things. It's not like the
Yeah,
other.
when did
like,
Lil Baby win last year?
2020.
Oh.
I think we just weren't okay. in
Yeah,
2020.
I was just listening to Hamilton that year, so I don't really know what happened in
I'm glad
popular
it wasn't
music.
Hamilton. But Tyler, the Creator, is this year's Artist of the Year according to
interesting.
Apple Music. Obviously, he dropped that surprise album.
At the
Don't
beginning
Tap
of
That
the year,
Glass.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he dropped an album late last year, and then I think like spring-ish.
Yeah.
He dropped a surprise album kind of out of nowhere, no marketing, no anything, just boom. Here's
I
my
like
album.
this. I like this fresh take from Apple.
Yeah, me too. Because he's a big artist. Like he's gigantic. I've met people even when I was in Europe that like multiple times they said Tyler the Creator. That's my favorite artist. Like he's become
Really?
kind of. It's weird because obviously we're old enough to when he first came out, he was counterculture, like the definite with
Kind of a
capital
weirdo.
C. Yeah, when he's been getting that all came back to head earlier this year on Twitter at least. Like there was a lot of people that found some of his old stuff, and he kind of got like re-canceled, you know, because there was a lot of his old stuff that when you were in the moment, and granted, out of context, a lot of the stuff is like, oh my God,
Yeah.
dude, I didn't see that.
It
I
was a
can't
different
defend
time,
that.
and we didn't know.
For
we
sure.
didn't fully grasp that what we say is going to be on the internet.
But you
forever.
also knew that he didn't mean it.
Yeah.
If you were aware of his character, which he was just kind of a character.
He was a
at the
character,
time, you
totally.
know. Yeah, but it was counterculture, capital
Yeah.
C's. But now he's like a mainstream artist.
Was
you know.
YouTube where people found him?
I think it was YouTube because he came out with the Yonkers music
Mm-hmm.
video where he ate the bug. That was kind of
Oh
like
my
shock
gosh,
factor.
I forgot about
yeah,
that.
and that kind of like it was simmering on the
Yeah.
internet. But I do believe he who shall not be named, aka Kanye West,
Yeah.
reposted it and was like, wow, this is genius. This is brilliant. Back when following Kanye West was fun.
No, but that was
on
back
Twitter.
when Kanye was putting. I mean, Chance the Rapper. Think
Yeah,
about that
for
too.
sure,
Like
yeah.
they wouldn't have gotten their start without him.
No, and so he just pushed it out to a whole different kind of audience,
Wow.
and then obviously Tyler's evolved since then. You can hear now the music he's making right now, which is kind of more like reminiscent of like Roy Ayers, like "Everybody Loves the Sunshine." It's like kind of like 70s, 80s soul kind of funkish music. That you could hear that he was trying to do that when he first started. He just didn't have the abilities.
A little bit more
yet.
mature, taking himself
Right.
a little bit more seriously.
Exactly.
He has a song with Doechii that I really like.
Yeah, that
and
song is
Doechii was
dope.
another person that if you would have asked me 6 months ago, she could have been Artist
sure.
of
But
the
then
Year.
it seemed like it just like she disappeared.
Well, her song Anxiety got played too much.
That song gives me
played
anxiety.
too much.
It's too. It's way too much.
But
Shout
I
out
love
to
her.
Doechii.
Shout out to
Doechii.
Doechii.
But that song, please, just like I'd be totally okay if I never hear that song.
It wasn't.
ever
It wasn't
again in
even
my life.
probably her choice to play it
No,
that many
no,
times.
probably
to
not.
get as many plays.
So yeah, she could have been the Artist of the Year, but
Yeah.
it's Tyler the Creator. And
Wow.
Yeah, his album was it topped the charts in 55 countries.
Really?
He had a world tour. He's got obviously his own festival that he hosts in LA. He's been doing that for over a decade now, I believe, and he's going to be in his first debut feature film with Timothée Chalamet. The Marty Supreme, that's coming out next month. A lot of people are saying that have seen it are saying Timothée Chalamet, you should put him in as a lock for Best Actor.
Who is making this film?
It was Benny Safdie, I believe, Benny Safdie. Because have you ever heard of the Safdie brothers? They made Uncut
Josh
Gems.
Safdie.
Yeah, Josh Safdie.
What Julia Fox was his muse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Uncut
That's
Gems.
right. Yeah. That whole thing was that's a whole different story. But yeah,
Fantastic.
he's going to be in a movie, and he's an Artist of the Year.
I
guess.
loathe that artists from when we were in high school have now been around for 15 years.
I know.
But,
It's like it's like, oh my god.
Little mind.
It's like, remember when Tyler the Creator came out? It's like feels like last year, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it
My
was.
Artist of the Year would probably be it's Hunter. Is their name Hunter? It's like HUN and then /TR because they're the ladies that made the K-pop Demon.
Oh, love
That's
that.
what I was going to say. If I'd said an artist this year, it would have been Huntrix. They've got some bangers. Have you watched it?
No, I haven't watched it, but I mean, it's setting the world on fire.
It's great.
But they sing "Gonna be golden," right?
That's
I
it.
think
so
yeah,
good.
that song,
That's where
that
I would
whole
have gone
movie.
for Artist of the Year because I think it had a huge cultural impact.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like #1 movie, #1 on the charts. I mean, it's just like, and K-pop was already obviously.
I just caught our
huge.
photographer Greg in an edit bay watching K-pop Demon Hunters.
Did you really?
Yeah. Don't want to put you on the spot, Gerg, but
spanning genres,
Yeah.
spanning
Demos.
different demos, spanning ages, races, everything.
Everyone loves
K-pop
them.
Demon Hunter is I said punter almost.
yeah, that's.
That'd be an interesting movie. Football sports take on it.
I
Air
like
Bud
it.
version of it.
Sequel idea.
Well, before I flub up any more words, Lauren, let's end this segment. Thanks for letting me spill some tea. Steal your segment
Absolutely.
for a second.
I can't wait to see what you come up with next week.
Absolutely. Let's spill some more tea
Let's do
next
it.
week. More Afternoon Shift is coming up. I got no idea what we got coming up, but that's the fun of the show, right? Just stay tuned. Welcome back to the afternoon shift. Just a few more minutes to go before it's the weekend for me and Mr. Millgate, but don't you go anywhere. The 5 o'clock news is coming up in just a couple of minutes, and obviously, whoever's sitting at the desk, it's the best of the best. Speaking of the best, we had some really damn good guests on the show today. Just a few minutes ago, we were talking to Brandon Cruz of Fox 6 Milwaukee, all things Vikings and Packers, the border battle. 130th edition is going down this Sunday at noon on Fox if you want to listen to it. The best way to watch football games, in my opinion, is you tune in on Fox 9, you mute the TV, you tune into KFAN 100.3 FM Sports Radio. You find a way to sync it because sometimes the radio broadcast tends to be ahead of the TV broadcast, and you sync it up. So you got Paul Allen and Pete Bursich giving you the call with the Fox 9 picture-perfect broadcast there. I mean, it's the best way to consume football. And, of course, it's going to be a huge, huge game. Even though the Vikings are 4-6, even though this season may be a wash, it's always a feather in our cap to beat the hated, much-hated Green Bay Packers. And Brandon Cruz talked all about that from Fox 6 Milwaukee. If you want to get the Packers' point of view, I don't know why you'd want to do that. Maybe you just like self-harm. I don't know. Maybe you're feeling a little down. Maybe you just want to sneak it behind enemy lines like we did. You can tune into Fox 6 Milwaukee. Just make sure to come back to Fox 9 for the game here. We talked to Lauren about her list of events going around the Twin Cities, all types of different fun, quirky events. Of course, you got the big holiday stuff like we're used to that comes around annually every single year. But Lauren's list. By the way, if you ever want to go back and watch, say you just tuned in right now and you're like, Max, all that stuff sounds really cool, but I can't watch it. It's already in the past. Well, guess what? We live in the future, brother. The streaming, the beautiful thing about streaming on YouTube, about streaming on the Fox 9 app and Fox Local, is you can go back in the past and watch full episodes. Just go to the Fox 9 YouTube, or you could type in, you could Google the afternoon shift, Fox 9 full episodes. It'll take you right there. We also talked Black Friday scams a little bit earlier, a week away from Black Friday. And I'm sorry, Susan, you messaged, you DM me about pounding the hands on the table. I'm doing it again. It's a bad habit. Sometimes it's hard to get rid of these bad habits when you're on TV. You forget that people are watching every single hand gesture and hanging on to every single word. At least that's what we hope. We talked Black Friday scams and how to avoid those. But we started off the show talking about racial covenants. I'll bring you in quickly here, Mr. Millgate. Do we want to go back to the racial covenant conversation for a little bit, or do we only got a couple minutes left?
I have the clip. We've only got a couple of minutes left there, but I think one thing that I thought maybe you and we can probably just chat. We've got 4 minutes left of the show. So
I think we can close it out.
I think we can close it out. But I was really fascinated. For those of you that are interested in finding out what a racial covenant was, full disclosure, had no idea what it was before Grace brought this story to the table. But the Mapping Prejudice project, and I could go back here actually. How about we do this? This is how fancy we'll be.
Ooh.
I'm going to go back in time in the supers and actually bring the supers up.
Look at that.
So that you can actually go and check it out yourself. If you want to check out the website, here we go. Learn more about it. Here it is. The mappingprejudice.umn.edu. That is the project that's based out of the University of Minnesota that kicked off the whole thing. They have Hennepin County. What were the other counties, I think?
Hennepin, I think they had a bunch of different counties, but we talked specifically about the one that's going on in Sherburne County. There's been hundreds of these.
River Covenants.
Great River
Covenants. That's the organization.
.org. And like we were talking about with Dr. Brittany, there's a lot of these. You would think, a lot of us like to think, hey, it's Minnesota. Even back in the day, hey, it's not the South. We weren't as bad as some places, but obviously everywhere. This is something that happened everywhere on a variety of different levels. You may have one of these racial covenants, which basically was language in your housing deed that prevented black people, brown people, Asian people, Native American people, whoever, anybody that's not white from living in said household. Obviously, because of all the different changes in the world, luckily these things don't have power to this day, but still that wording is symbolic, and some people might say, and we talked to Doc about it, it's like, why is that still important? Well, it's symbolic. It's kind of similar to, some people might say, well, what does it matter if this school was named after an old Civil War general that was on the South Side?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't necessarily. Does it change somebody's life by changing the name, by changing the wording in that deed? No, but it's a symbolic victory against racism. And hey, we'll take any victory against racism that we can get. And it's just another way to just kind of, smash those glass ceilings that existed for so many decades for so many different kinds of people,
Yeah,
Paul.
absolutely. And we love to chat. We love to chat about those things and lift up voices of things that you might not necessarily heard about here at the Afternoon Shift. I've just put up here, follow us on Afternoon Shift _Fox9. That is where you'll get all of the short stuff that we try to put together. But you can also, follow us on YouTube. At Fox 9, where we do our lives here every day as well, Monday to Friday, 3
We
p.m.
got
to
Ian
5
Leonard talking about his Iron Man retirement yesterday. That's our latest post. We take turns uploading the full show to YouTube, and I went very clickbaity with it yesterday. And I said Ian Leonard's retirement. So hopefully people got some clicks on that.
That was the spike in viewers that we had.
Yeah, that had to
Ian
have
Leonard's
been.
retiring? No.
But then it was just good news. It was just Ian Leonard making us laugh as he always does. Mr. Milgate, we're about a minute away from the weekend. What are you up to this weekend?
You know what? I actually don't know if we have plans. I know that we need to get ready for Thanksgiving. We've got people visiting, so we need to get the spare room ready. We need to do some grocery shopping. We need to work out what we're going to cook for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be like a preparation, organizational weekend.
The calm before the storm, as they say.
And it's not going to be long before it's Christmas, let's be honest.
I know.
As soon as we get through this weekend, we have a long weekend next weekend, and then...
it's all right around the corner. And speaking of right around the corner, the 5 o'clock news is
with
right
Karen
around
Scullin
the
and
corner,
Simone
Mr.
Woodridge.
Milgate.
We've got Karen and Simone are at the desk tonight. They're ready there. They're sitting there. I can see them.
And I can't wait. I don't know what the leading story is, but I'm sure it's going to be something gripping and captivating. Hopefully it's captivating as the Afternoon Shift. We're signing off. I'm Maxx Fuller. He's Paul Milgate. The 5 o'clock news starts right now.
Let's see if that was right.
This is Fox 9 News at 5.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Simone Woolridge.
And I'm Karen Scullin. Here's a look at some stories that we're following today. Some Minnesotans feeling the fallout of a housing program